Now please be very careful with these photographs because my wife thinks I'm in the north of England visiting my mother. I could be in terrible trouble.
Just hold the product.
Yes, a little more level to the camera. Smile, I never smile. Okay. No, smile. To your right, you, son. Down. Down. Can we go around the table? What we'll do, to keep it simple, we'll go around the table. So we'll start here. Brilliant. Okay, to this gentleman here with the blue shirt, with the camel. Okay, ready? Okay, sorry. Ready? You're the boss, okay. My name's Richard Finney. I own a company called Captain Fawcett. We specialise in male grooming products. I'm here actually in the Radisson Hotel Goregaon in Mumbai with my friend Viraj Singh. And we're here to talk about our company's launch into the incredible India.
Something more about the product?
Okay. Captain Fawcett has existed as a company for over 10 years. As you can see, I have a moustache, splendid moustache, as indeed does my dear chum here. We were very much at the beginning of this moustache and beard phenomena. Sorry, am I being boring?
No, just keep
Okay, sorry. Very much as a company, we were very much at the beginning of this moustache and beard phenomena. I've waxed my moustache now for more than 25 years, and I too was in the British film industry. And how it came about, I used to make my wax in a very small tin, and I'd make enough which would last me 6 pots, which would last, as I said, probably for a whole year. Now, my wife is a very well-known British film and TV hair and makeup artist. In fact, she got the Emmy for doing the 2nd series of Downton Abbey. She designed Kate Blanchett's hair, which got the Oscar for Elizabeth, and she also got the BAFTA for Gormenghast. So when she started to take my products to work, the whole company exploded beyond our wildest imagination. From there, we then went into beard products, and we are now sold in 40 countries, distributed in 16. And the reason we're in India is because India, in many senses, no pun intended, is a huge growth market. And the reason we're here is with my friend Viraj, we are launching our own Maharajah range of male grooming products. We've started with the moustache wax. This is just literally the toe in the water, the tip in the water, as it were, but we're going to be launching into various other beard products.
Viraj, you being from India, what do you have to say about the launch of the product?
Yeah. So initially, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. I have a company called the Jodhpur Company. It sounds very Indian and people relate it to Jodhpur, a place in Rajasthan, but it's more about the bottoms. Now when you look at old pictures of old India and you see World War I pictures, World War II pictures, riding pictures, hunting pictures, shikar, you'll see the elephant-eared Jodhpur bottoms. So this is what we specialize in. That is what my company do. That's our bread and butter. And it's a revival of attire of the old, where the time where Britain were in India and there was a cross-pollination of many cultures, architecture, fashion, sport. So I don't want that era of fashion to just live in the history books. So that's when I made my first pair of jodhpurs in tweed. I took it to England, I took it to UK, and I must say I do indulge in shooting, from rifle shooting to shotgun shooting and shikar. So there I was in Housestead. I was up on a pheasant shoot, perched on a peg, which is a little wooden peg, and it's tucked into the ground, and that's where you stand before the partridges fly out. So there were 2 partridges that flew out. So those partridges were flying out, bang, bang. I knocked both of them over. It was probably a fluke. But by that time, I heard someone say, "Oh, sir, where did you get your jodhpurs from?" And I thought, "Jodhpurs?" And I looked down, and I thought, you're talking about the Jodhpur bottoms. The Jodhpur bottoms that Sir Pratap, Maharajah Pratap Singh from Jodhpur, brought to UK during Queen Victoria's Jubilee. So then I went over to him, and I thought he was complimenting the shooting, but he wasn't. He was complimenting my bottoms. And he said, "Sir, who made those for you?" So I said, "My personal tailor from Rajasthan." So he said, "Sir, can you make me a pair?" And then that was it. The Jodhpur company became a company, and we specialize in Edwardian, old-style, sporting, horse riding, equestrian attire. Now, being a Rajput, the moustache is a symbolic thing. It's not just a thing of fashion. And when I first met Richie, I was telling him for a Rajput, a moustache is prominent. It's so important. And we're not allowed to take it off until our father passes away as a mark of respect. And Richie was fascinated, you know, to hear the heritage behind the moustache, where there's been certain battles just because of a moustache. And I said there are many proud Indians in North India who keep the beard, including the Sikhs, the Kshatriya community. And I said, it's a massive thing and we'll never take it off. And I started showing him pictures of my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and we went 4 generations back. And one common thing that we all have, our ancestors, is the curly moustache. So I've always had a moustache. I've had a handlebar for a very long time. So I said to Rishi, it just makes sense for us to do something to celebrate the old moustaches of the old. You know, celebrating the Thakurs, the Rajas, the Maharajas, and reviving a moustache, a wax moustache. Now, the last time, if you go through the history books, if you see a wax moustache, we're talking about Maharajah Moustache Kangarji of Kutch. If you look at his moustache, it's waxed. After that, you don't see any wax moustaches. Now, those chaps used to get their moustache from London, from UK. Now, there's been a break in history. No, you know, the Indian market hasn't known of a moustache wax. And I just thought to myself, Richie, we need to revive heritage. We need to bring this back. And Captain Fawcett, what can I say about Captain Fawcett? I've been using their products for a very long time, 5 years. So the best moustache wax makers in the world. And I'm happy to say that we can now put the Jodhpur name on a tin and praise all the moustaches of old with Richie's help.
And this is the first. This is actually, we only made 40. This is the actual original Maharaja sample waxes. Some of you will be lucky enough to have a sample. It's my first time in Mumbai, and I have to say I've experienced a great time, wonderful hospitality. But I too have spent a lot of time up in Rajasthan and further up north, up in Himachal Pradesh. And I was aware, even 9, 10 years ago when I was coming in, that having a moustache is a symbol really of respect. I'd be coming through the airport and there'd be some businessman with some very expensive luggage in a very expensive suit. But the security man, the customs, the man with the rifle immediately would say, "Hello, sir, how are you? Fantastic moustache." And he'd start talking about the moustache. And the guy behind was fuming because he thought himself as being very important. You're not important in parts of India unless you have a moustache. That's true, isn't it?
Yes. And one thing that I want to say about Captain Fawcett. So everything that I was explaining about the moustache sounds very serious, sounds very military-like, but it's actually a fun brand. If you open up the tin and you have a look at the captain's picture, the sketch on the tin, it's a very, very, very fun brand. And you're talking about stuff like booze and baki, to resemble a pub when you walk into UK. So it's a very lively, fun brand, and it's for motorcycle enthusiasts. You know, Richie himself being a massive Harley man.
I ride an Enfield in many places in India. Great motorcycle.
So there should be an element of fun to it, you know. And these usually will retail at tattoo shops, tailoring shops, and Richie will tell you a bit more about that.
We're sold in Hatters, we're sold literally into gift shops, we're sold in London Selfridges, we're sold in London Harvey Nichols. So we have an incredible reputation. And I actually manufacture behind the scenes. I make waxes for companies as old as Trumpers and the Pall Mall barbers. But there's a great belief in what we do. It is slightly tongue-in-cheek, as Viraj indicated, but there's a serious thing behind it. One of our mottos, one of our trademarks, in fact, is keeping a stiff upper lip regardless. We all sometimes face adversity, and there's that thing about, oh, I'm going to be okay, and you just look ahead and just press on. You have to press on, regardless, invariably.
So how did you both collaborate? I mean, what?
Well, we met in prison. Don't print that. Don't print that. It's not true. Well, they won't report that, will they?
No,
I wouldn't want my mother to hear that. That'd be awful.
No,
That'd be terrible trouble. Right? Okay. Sorry. We first met through an interest in moustaches, and Viraj approached me, and we met in a very famous club in London called the Bike Shed, where we first discussed this notion, and this would have been 4 or 5 years ago. But I think with the same things, with most ideas, it's not an overnight thing. It's a kernel. You know, you water the plant and you watch the plant grow and develop and bloom. And this is really what the stage we're at now of our development. So it's a collaboration which comes from a huge interest in ancestral history but placed into the modern day.
So tell us, you have a lot of products here. What are the kind of
Well,
products
initially,
that we have?
okay, we have many different products now. As I said to you earlier, we initially started with the moustache wax, and from then we went into beard products. But not everyone has a beard or a moustache. So we've done shaving equipment so people can then shave. We've also done perfumes. We now even do tattoo salve. So we're very close to actually having the full range for everything that a gentleman would need to look particularly dapper and well groomed. The next step will be moving into moisturizers and face scrubs, and then even into hair pomades. But 10 years, as I said, 10-year our anniversary will be next year. And things take slow to do everything organically. We don't have any investment. This is done from a complete passion. And I know many of you will have visited the UK and will actually have friends and family in the UK. We have a museum of 3,000 square metres. Is it metres? Mostly metres, or 9,000 square feet, which is a complete homage to the barber shop of yesteryear. Our oldest razor dates back to 1650. That's nearly 400 years old. And we come right through the 1880s, right through to the 1960s. So you'd be very welcome next time you're in the UK to come and...
So I do think there is a revival in facial hair. If you go down, if you go up, to North, Gurgaon, Delhi, Punjab, you'll see a lot more people with facial hair now. And I think it is not too much culture anymore, but it's a thing of fashion. And I suppose the women would agree with me.
Yeah, I mean the whole beard trend, and in fact the rebirth, the renaissance of the barbershop. I've even written a book about it called The Quintessential Grooming Guide for the Modern Gentleman. And we've got photographs from India. I mean, traditionally you've had the guy, sitting cross-legged with a piece of broken mirror, and he's been doing a little shave, or then you've had the old traditional shave stops. Now, many of the trendy guys will go to a unisex salon, but what's happening? The whole rebirth is coming initially from America through the UK, and it's sweeping to the east. It's already happening in Australia. So it's the barbershop, a place where a man can go and talk to his friends, talk about the cricket, talk about sport, talk about tattooing, talk about his girlfriend, sometimes even talk about some of their little problems that they may have. But it's a space, it's a safe space where men can, maybe if they're inclined, have a little beer or a drop of whiskey. So the renaissance of that barber shop, which has always been quite traditional for men to be able to sit and chew the fat. What's said in the barber shop stays in the barber shop. And there is that great renaissance. And we're here, and we hope to be able to get involved with barberage. I mean, you have True Fit and Hill, which is opened, I think, maybe 12, and they're looking at maybe another 15. We're on a par with that caliber and quality. There is a demand. So we are making beautiful products using essential oils, no fragrance, it's all base oils within this one specifically, the Ricky Hall Booze and Baccy, which Viraj referred to earlier. This in actual fact has 4 base oils and at 9 essential oils. So this is an expensive product to produce. We're not in competition with other companies that are making cheaper products because we are working with a niche. We have that history, the halcyon history. So we're working with niche people who want the best products. You will always have one person who owns a tuk-tuk, and you have somebody else who wants the Lamborghini or a Ferrari or an old Bentley, rather like the Maharajahs of York. So that's really the people we're aiming at. People who want to spend that little bit of time, a little bit of extra money on looking the bee's knees.
And one thing